I've come up with a little quiz that can help determine if your new animated series concept is ready to pitch to the marketplace. It's really pretty simple, and here are the questions. 1. Is your idea functionally good? 2. Have you really defined your talent? 3. Do you know what you're trying to say? And 4. Is it cool? So let's break down what all that really means. Hey there, welcome back to Surviving Animation, your guide to making it in the business of cartoons. My name is Eric Calderon. I know I haven't made a video in a long time, so I really appreciate everyone who's been following me, sticking around with me, and engaging with me either on LinkedIn or in the comment section here to ask me questions and talk about your feelings about the business of cartoons. So I know this is a really weird time for everyone, and as a guy with the fortunate and perhaps unfortunate channel name Surviving Animation. I think it's a time when we're all going to be a little more reflective about everything we're doing. So let me first say this to anyone who's watching. I hope that you and your family, your loved ones are safe. I hope that you're staying safe. And I hope that you're doing the best that you can, like all of us, in your kitchens, in your living rooms, to try to proceed in whatever business you're doing, whether it be animation or anything else. So let me also say that to those of you who are really pushing yourself to be productive, who are maybe watching this channel saying, I've got to work on that new idea, I've really got to use this time to be creative and be productive, just please take it easy on yourself as well. I know as a functioning business person and creative person, these first few weeks have actually been a struggle for me. It's been very tough to be creative. It's been tough to come up with new ideas. It's been tough to even just make it through a full work day with the new rhythm of working everything. So let me just tell you, as a person in the industry, hopefully that you can see you're not alone, or none of us are alone, and the animation industry is a strong collaborative one. And I really just want to, give my enthusiasm and my support and my love to everyone out there who is trying to make it in the business of cartoons. And I'm going to do what I can. I know that all of you out there are doing what you can to keep supporting the animation industry and making it move forward because entertainment is one of the things that we can offer to the world, offer to all the people sitting at home, watching shows and having shows to show to their kids. We're kind of important right now in our little way, so let's just push through and carry through. All right, let's get back to the subject at hand today, which is the quiz for your cartoon. And let's break down the first question, which is it functionally good? Okay, what does functionally good really mean? So, when I talk about something being functional, I talk about it serving all the things that need to be answered when you talk about an animated series. So, first of all, have you targeted a category? So, a lot of people have ideas that they want to appeal to everyone in the world, to be very grand. Television animation in general is a much more categorized genre or format. So I like to tell people that you kind of need to choose who your target is. So whether that is preschool or 6 to 11 or adult, make sure that your idea kind of at least has its center point, and that's the main target or category that you're going to appeal to. Now, things will naturally halo out if they're really good. So, you can have a show like Adventure Time that has a core category of 6 to 11, but because of its particular style, actually went much older in its appeal and kind of generally affected culture. I think that's a great thing. But first and foremost, it really did kind of choose its target category. So, once you've chosen that target category, I would say you really have to understand the guidelines of that category. So, for example, if you do a preschool educational show, one of the guidelines for that category is that you actually have a educator on board who can certify your curriculum to guarantee that what you're saying is actually current and proper education. Now, the guideline for adult primetime is usually, did you bring along a writer or a talent who is proven in that category, who has prior samples or prior work that is already funny, that can make a buyer kind of feel reassured that your category of adult animation will consistently be funny past your pitch itself. So after you have your target category and you kind of understand the guideline rules, make sure that you command your genre. So, whatever you choose in those categories, make sure that you present a very complete and understanding of that genre, of that category, so that whoever you're pitching in front of you will know that you are a master of that particular section that you've decided to target your show at. So all of that is what I mean by functionally good. Okay, now that we've established that your idea is functionally good, let's talk about you and your specific talent. Now, when I talk to talent or the person who's actually presenting to me an idea, I always like to think or believe or hope that somewhere in there is an incredible, irreplaceable, and sustainable talent. So those are three very important words. So first of all, is the talent you have to prove to the world, what is it you're bringing to the table? What is this actual ability that you have, whether it's writing or drawing or directing? Uh, Part of the quiz of a new animated series concept is, does this person bring something of a talent to the table and to the pitch itself? Now, why does all of this specifically require you? So that's part of the equation of talent, which is I'm not only presenting an idea, but I'm the person who actually has to do it because of XYZ reason. Now, that is very contextual and it really depends on your situation. But for example, if I'm a creator and I have this brand new show and I'm actually the voice of the main character, that is one of the reasons why I am required to be on the show. And that voice ability, that unique skill of my voice, is what I'm bringing to the table. Now, on top of having something that's a talent, that's something that requires you, is it sustainable? So, a lot of people bring ideas, and I always have to think to myself, that's great. It has the right format, so it's a functionally good idea. But if the series actually happens, is this talent that we brought on board a sustainable one and one that we need for the entire production? So, if you are a person who pitched just an idea and you're not even the best writer for it, or you're not the best voice talent for it, or you're not the best director for it, suddenly you're not a sustainable talent. So the most important part of bringing a talent to the table to prove yourself to anyone in front of you is that you not only need me, I'm also unique, I'm also important for the entire production. So all of that adds up to the talent part of your question. All right, you're halfway there. You have proved in this quiz that you have an idea that is functional. You have proved that you are a talent that is incredible, replaceable, and sustainable. Now the question really comes is, what are you trying to say? So inside of a pitch, probably somewhere in the core of its idea, is your personal mission, almost like your mission statement. Now, this can be as simple as I am hilariously funny, and this is the kind of funny I am. Or it could be something more serious, like I really want to save the environment, and this is the show that actually proves how I think kids should learn about the environment. But whatever it is, whatever is in your show, I think we're in a stage right now in animation where having something that is personal and authentic is very important. So I think it's important for your proposal uh, to present actually who you are and what it is that you have to say about the world or what you want to say to the world. Now, having that personal mission defined, you also have to show that you have authentic experience and education on that mission. So once you state that kind of goal and that kind of moral fiber, whether it be comedic or serious or educational, you have to kind of prove that this is in your blood and in your veins and has been for a long time, and you've pursued it long enough to show that you're kind of an expert in this whole area. So having all that mission and all that experience and education is good and kind of knowing what you're at, but there's two other important nuances underneath this, which is basically this message that you're trying to convey has to be simple enough for us to get in every episode, in every bit of your work, and every part of the production. Now, I think what I like to tell people is I once talked to the people who create Pokemon, and Pokemon, of course, is a big collector-based show. It's a massive franchise all over the world. But one of the mission statements in the center of all Pokemon, which I thought was incredible, is Pokemon is about the love of pets. So if you think about everything about this show, everything about the merchandise and the game and the cards and everything is always expressing this very personal, singular mission, which is the love of pets. Now, the every viewer who watches it might not know that, but it's important for the person you're pitching to understand that because that's going to be the depth of your proposal that will kind of be the defining mission of every bit of thing that you do on it. Now, Simple enough is really important, but on the flip side of that, is it complex enough is the other side. So the great thing about the Pokemon love of pets idea is it's so simple, but as we've all seen for decades and decades, it's a complex enough idea that it can iterate itself over every different version, every different episode, every different type of character. There's a lot of ways you can love pets. There's a lot of ways you can feel betrayed by pets, or you can feel lost without them, or other people can want your pet, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if I go back to an example I just made earlier in the video, which is I want to have a show that teaches about saving the environment, if that is too simple a message over and over again, then suddenly what you're trying to say might not last the format of a long TV series. So I like to tell people what is the conversation we like to have, and if that conversation is too short or is too polarizing or too simple, sometimes that might be too simple of a moral message that doesn't have enough complexity to go through. So anyway, the third and arguably one of the more difficult questions in the quiz is really what are you trying to say, and here are the pieces about it. All right, we're at the last question of the little quiz for your animated series concept, and that is it cool? So I know that sounds a little bit like a difficult professional uh, criteria for a concept, but there is ways to kind of break down what this means. So let's deconstruct this a little bit, which might kind of help you get some more insight to what people mean by is it cool? So, first of all, when you talk about something being cool, we talk about its entertainment value versus kind of its preachiness. So there's a lot of concepts that come in that have a moral message, maybe a simple idea. I'm never against that. I don't think people should be against that. But if you're too heavy-handed with your message, if it becomes too obvious, you will lose the entertaining value of it. So what as the result is it just won't feel cool. So that's kind of one way or one kind of lever you can use to determine if your idea is cool or not. If you're in the genre of comedy, one of the most basics is this a fresh comedic perspective? So if you look at the prior questions to the quiz, you could have a functionally good comedic idea like a typical family sitcom. You can have a really unique talent, like maybe you've done a lot of stand-up, or maybe you've written a lot of funny animated series before, and you could even have a mission to talk about, which is you want to have this comedy that you're good at. Be about father-son relationships. That's all really great, but if it adds up to something that just feels exactly like Family Guy, then we're not getting a new, fresh comedic perspective, and therefore we don't think it's cool. In the genre of actually action adventure, which is a genre that I get pitched a lot, that I love to talk about, that I'm very passionate about, a lot of things I think about whether or not it's cool is if it's familiar in a sense of, can we clearly define who are the good and bad guys? Can we kind of understand what the stakes are? And can we kind of see how this is an action adventure that kids or adults will really get into. And also, is it going to be something new? I mean, if we're going to do dwarves and elves and dragons, it's going to be very hard to have that feel new unless you have something really fresh to bring to the table, which brings me to my fourth point, which is actually what are the comparables? And comparables is another thing that will help people or what results in people saying if your idea is cool or not. I mean, if you do a bunch of superheroes and people can kind of instantly see that you're imitating the Avengers or imitating the Justice League, one of the ways that comes out of their mouth is it's not very cool. So be aware of your comparables, and a lot of that will be specific to the genres that you guys decide. Um, and that will kind of let you realize where the white space in the market is for the other things that are kind of too close to you, you can avoid them. um, but anyway, if there's comparables that are too close to what you're doing, that is again why people will say it's kind of not cool. So there's one final important point about coolness, which I want to bring up, which is you're not a jerk, right? So I really want to say that because I always want to remind people that when you're pitching or presenting, or right now, even if you're taking the quiz for your own animated series idea, the messenger and the message is always going to be merged together. So if you are so passionate about a certain thematic idea that it comes off as dismissive or angry, really easy way to turn off someone in front of you. If you are just not the kind of person who gets along with a lot of people, you have to be aware of that. That's nothing good or bad about that, but if you have to be aware of that, and maybe it's someone else who has to present your idea to people, or maybe it only goes across in writing, or maybe you have to just be aware of the scenarios that allow you the chance to be your best self, because being cool is also part of the equation of someone reviewing your material, because people will want to work with someone who they actually think they can work with. So is it cool sometimes blends a little bit into are they cool or do we want to work with them? So anyway, that's a lot of nuance about the entire category in question of is it cool? Okay, that's the end of the quiz. I hope that you and your animated series concept did well. I hope you were able to figure out if your idea is functionally good. I hope you're able to really think about what your incredible, irreplaceable, and sustainable talent is. I hope that you're able to figure out what you're trying to say, and I hope you and your concept are cool. So that is it for this time. I hope that all of you continue to do well out there. I hope that you're able to spend some time with your loved ones and hope you're able to maybe video Skype and collaborate with the people that you work with. And whatever it is you're doing in the business of cartoons, I am right there surviving with you. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.